Our origin story started on April 20th, 2003. It was Easter. It was a brisk night in Baghdad. Maybe a full moon. I don't know. Felt like there was at least a little bit of illumination coming through the windows. We didn't have electricity in our building. So once it got dark, we didn't have a whole lot to do. But word was coming in that we were finally getting some new privates. Some new talent coming in. And man, and me being the new guy on the squad for so long, I was pretty excited. Little did I know that little fateful night would change my life forever, as I would meet my best friend, you, Mr. Brett King. I don't remember a lot about it because, again, in hindsight, it's like I didn't know what it was gonna turn out to be, but I just remember you coming in. You
it was also 20 years ago.
Yeah, actually, almost. We just celebrated our 18th anniversary a couple of months ago. So you came into my room, which I was sharing with Malcolm at the time, good old Malcolm, and you sat down on your cot, and you were a quiet boy. You didn't have a lot to say. I mean, obviously that's a very
there's some situations
strange situation. It's not like you're gonna come in and be like a stand-up comedian and just start telling jokes right away. But yeah, that was it was a fateful night for me, and from my perspective, it was just a ho hum night with a new guy. But for you, it was probably much more.
It was definitely
eventful.
It's hard to like pull up memories of it because like in the middle of the night, it's like you can't see as much. So it's like you don't take in as much to remember as much.
Right.
But I remember like coming in on a 5-ton and you guys had already established yourself like there as living there. I don't know how long you were there before I got there. I don't think it was long.
Yeah, not long, no.
But
a couple days. Yeah.
But we come in, we hop off the 5-ton, which if you're young and listening, don't jump out of the 5-ton. Your knees. Well, right now it feels like they're fine, but eventually.
They'll start hurting.
They'll start hurting. But anyway, we hop out and we head to I don't know what room. It was a briefing room where we were meeting our first Sergeant Dixon, and he was having some sort of meeting with his platoon sergeants. So there was 3 of them there. There was 1st platoon, 2nd platoon, A&O.
Yeah.
And I think there was 3 of us new guys, maybe only 2.
I remember you and Sayers.
I think that was it. I think it was just me and Sayers.
Yeah.
And all you do is look at these 3 guys, and it's like you've got 1st platoon who looks like somebody who could be your grandpa. Like he looked really friendly.
He's Sergeant Harold, yep.
And it was like, that's the one. That's the one. Go to that one. Because sitting next to him is a giant who's just like hunched over and glaring, like
big bulging eyes.
Big eyes that are like, Jesus, please do not send me to him. And then next to him is the A&O, which
I can't remember who that was.
Yeah, I can't remember. Like I remember, like I just can't remember. I can put a face, but I can't put a name to it.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously I went to the big scary one because
of course
that's the look I get. And Sanders,
it's our origin story. It wouldn't happen any other way.
And so Sergeant Barton's like, it's like, I'm gonna be a hassle. He's just like hunched over and he's like looking. He's just like, like I gotta deal with this kid.
Rest in peace, Sergeant Barton.
And so he takes me outside and he's like, all right, can you show this guy around? And he pulls in who we now know as Malcolm, who's got the biggest heart, but he's like a tad creepy.
He's a bit touched is what he is. He's a bit touched.
And Kowalczyk, who's this big Polish Arnold
Schwarzenegger clone
character. Yeah. And they're like, it's dark. What are they going to
come with me if you want to live?
Yeah. They take me around and they're like, these are the stairs. You can use them to go up a level. These are rooms. There's nothing in them.
We were really proud of our hotel.
They're like, if you need to use the bathroom, go somewhere someone's not walking. And then they take me upstairs and they take me to second squad, which was you guys. And
it
was 2-2. And across the hall was the squad leaders room, and in there was Sergeant Bowman and Sergeant Rob and Ryan.
Yep.
And
three of the best
Bowman,
leaders of all time.
Easily, without a doubt. And Sergeant Bowman's sitting on his cot in his boxers. Like I get my first briefing from a Vietnamese guy in his boxers, and he is speaking a mile a minute. I've got no idea what he just said to me.
My name's Sergeant Bowman. This is about all you can ever understand.
I'd still hold my head under a bucket of water for that guy.
As long as he tells me to.
When he taps me to say, "Hey, come up," then I know it's safe. He's protecting me. And
forever.
And anyway, he says some stuff. I don't know what he says, but and then he sends Malcolm and me over across the hallway to the room I'm going to sleep in, where you were, and you had set up a cot for me, and it wasn't next to the disgusting toilet bathroom that was in the room with us.
I think it was by the window, actually.
No, you were. Actually, I think Brackett was by the window.
You're right. I was against the wall at come in the door.
Yeah, you were on the left against the wall, like on the same side.
You may have been in the middle of the room, actually.
No, I was. No, you were. Like you walk in the door, and to the left was
on the left
was you. You were along the same side as the same wall as the door, and then I was in the corner. So like your feet were at my head. Oh
yeah. Okay. Yep. And now I remember that. Okay.
And then you proceeded to ask me about who I was and whatnot. Mostly about my girlfriend, though. It wasn't really, you weren't really trying to get to know me.
Well, we hadn't seen women in 5 months, so I didn't know if they still existed outside of our world.
Are there still females back in the States?
It's good to know that they did. We did not go extinct in that time. So
they can vote now. Like they do all kinds of things.
They drive.
That changed since you left.
It's amazing. So that's you may have felt a little creeped out, but you have to understand the situation we were in. It's just like, what else am I going to do? I'm sitting in this dark ass room and didn't have electricity or internet or anything, and here comes the new guy. I want to know about him. Who's this guy?
I think the strangest part was like the next day when you wake up and it's bright and you can see people's faces. And I had no idea who I talked to the night before. Like it was like months later when I was starting to piece together, like, I think I talked to this person at this point.
Yeah, you wake up and you see this face and you're like, man, that's the guy that I was asking about my girlfriend. And I looked like I was 12. Cool. Well, yeah. For everybody to know, that's how Brett and I met each other.
This is like one of the first pictures of. I think this is the first picture of you and I in it.
Maybe, yeah. We can't really see it, but maybe we throw it up on our Twitter this weekend.
It's pretty precious to me. I don't know if I'm going to share it like that.
I have it, so I can share it. But yeah, so everybody knows that's how Brett and I met, and rest is history. Party nerds. It's the Nerd Rundown podcast where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm your host, Darren Stemple, and with me today is a very special guest host, my brother from another mother, Brett D. King. We appreciate you joining us today, and if you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Twitter at The Nerd Rundown. Find us on our YouTube channel at The Nerd Rundown, where we're now on video. And you can listen to our podcasts on places like Spotify, Google, Apple, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Player FM, Amazon, Deezer, and Buzzsprout. Want to give a quick shout out to one of our listeners in Clichy, France. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. We got some analytics on locations for people listening, and for consistently about almost since the beginning, we've got one European listener from Clichy, France. So
I think it's clicky France, like a mouse.
Well, you know what? Why doesn't the listener from Clichy, France?
Clicky.
I Googled it and it said Clichy.
I don't know. I was just making it up.
Okay, Mr. France over here. So right into the podcast at the Nerd Rundown on Twitter, or you can email us thenerdrundown@gmail.com. However you want. You can comment on our YouTube. We love you listening all the way from France across the pond. So welcome to the party, pal. We have a fantastic show for y'all today. We'll cover the latest on the rundown. It was a very short week on some of the news. We actually got some great comic news out that we're going to get into. We have a comic pro with us in
I'm not paid. I'm not a professional.
He's a professional. Don't let him be humble. Then we'll get to our special segment about toys. This is our toy themed episode. Very excited to talk some toys with you, Brett. Every nerd has always, been into toys at some point in their life or still is, and very, very excited to talk about toys. We'll talk about how they've impacted us, their impact on the world, how they've changed over time, and what's next for toys. And we'll answer some nerd questions. But before we get to the rundown, I want to kind of go through a little bit of history. We just went through our origin story with how you and I met, but we want to talk a little bit about who our special guest host is today, Mr. Brett King. Who are you? Why are you? And what kind of nerd are you?
Well, my name is Brett King, and I'm a teacher out in Maryland. Sorry, I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Put them on your lap.
Put them on my lap.
Yeah, sit
I'm
on
a teacher
the whole time. Yeah, you
and,
are.
I'm lucky in that I teach
awesome teacher.
And engineering. I am okay. I'm lucky in that it's engineering, and so that feeds right into my kind of nerd realm.
Yeah,
I like building things. I like making things. I like the process more than the outcome. So a lot of things like I make here. So like, I guess just in the background, like I made the lightsaber. I made Stormbreaker. I've made Iron Man. I made a lot of things here. I put these Legos together. Like that's me. I put them together. I didn't build them, but I put them together.
Put the Legos together.
And I would say if I had to put a label on my nerdish, I'm not sure what the
kind of nerd are you?
I would say that I definitely read a lot of comics, and obviously I do like the movies, but I read a lot of comics. I love collecting toys. I get picked on a lot because people say my hobby is collecting hobbies. Like I paint minis. I 3D print. I collect comics. I collect toys. Obviously, I have a lot of. Yeah. I like. That's why I wouldn't call me professional of anything. Like I'm a little bit into a lot of things, but I'm not a lot in anything.
I like it, you're a jack of all trades nerd, master of none, but jack of all trades kind of thing.
I would say that's pretty accurate.
And I need the names and numbers and addresses of people picking on you. I'll come find them and do stuff to them, if you know what I mean. I'll send Malcolm on them. that'll teach him. So that's awesome. Ever since I met Brett, he has told me he was going to be a shop teacher.
Jesus, don't call it shop.
Well, this is what you said in the beginning when we met. And so just using your words. Right. And that's obviously evolved over time into
it's true.
What it is today. And so you did what you said you were going to do since I've known you, and you've become a hell of a teacher, and I'm really proud of you. And I wish you could teach me how to build some things, because I'm not a builder. I like the outcome more than the process. So we are different in that sense, but that's why our relationship's so good. We've got good balance to our relationship. It's the key to every great relationship, people. Yeah. Note that down. So good to know kind of what kind of nerd you are. This is what the show is all about, is showing that we are all different kinds of nerds, whether it's video game nerd, comic nerd, toy nerd, superhero nerd, whatever kind of nerd. We all can be nerds in our own way. And I that's the message I want to get out there. We're all nerds in our own different way. I'm a big comic book movie nerd, and that's why this show really has lent itself to that in the first parts of the show. And we're starting to branch out. You know, we're doing different things here. We're talking about toys here today, and toys have been super huge in my life, and looking forward to talking about that later on. But before we get to that, can we get a rundown?
Which has happened.
Yeah, see, Eric and I have that thing that we do with the rundown. So first on the rundown, we have a toy-related story, although it's not toys yet. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Seth Rogen's animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles got a release date. We've seen many iterations of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles over the course of time.
I think that's kind of the beauty, not to cut you off, but I would love to
go ahead.
No, I think that's the beauty of the Turtles is that every generation has their own version, and they are all completely 100% different. Like you look at ours, which is obviously the right version, and it's obviously it's completely different than like the 2000s version, which was
I think the Michael Bay, like,
well, I mean, just cartoons,
CGI. Oh, go ahead, keep going.
Just the straight TV version. I mean, if you go in movies, there were puppets, and I think that was one of the last projects. I just lost the guy's name, the Muppet guy.
Oh, Jim Henson.
I think that was one of the last projects he did. And
you're gonna find out in this chair, your brain just goes out the window. You're gonna forget easy.
It's usually out the window. And then obviously the Michael Bay, and they were completely different versions. But then in cartoons, like the 90s had the cartoon that was huge.
Yeah, great theme song. Great theme song. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And then and I think this leads into more of the Seth Rogen story, is that then in the 2000s there was that 3D rendering one, which is a little different. I think it was 3D. It might have been cartoon. I didn't watch it because it wasn't as cool.
No, it was. So it was Michael Bay produced.
The cartoon?
No, are you still talking about the cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was. Well, now I can't think, because I know I keep thinking of the movies, the Michael Bay produced movies.
Well, Seth Rogen's doing a show, not a movie, though, right?
So this one it arrives on August 11th, 2023, CG animated reboot.
I feel like it should be against the law to like tell us something that's coming out 2 years in the future. Like they should have to wait till 6 months in the future. So we have to look forward to something that long.
You know what's funny is it doesn't say if it's a movie or TV show.
I'm pretty sure it's a show.
So yeah, and this story makes it seem like, because it talks about the Michael Bay movie, it talks about Seth Rogen's movie career, it talks about Brendan O'Brien penned the screenplay, and then Evan Goldberg is producing. Those are all movie guys. I
was 95% sure it was a show until you just read all that. I would say I'm like 93% now, but I guess I don't know. I thought it was a show,
and it's Paramount, so it might be like I don't know.
It might be a Paramount Plus thing. You don't know now with the way that.
I know, it's crazy. Things are so different.
Everything's streamed now.
Anyway, I'm excited for it. I like anything Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Big part of our childhood. We'll talk about it later on a little bit more in depth. But I'm a Leonardo fan. I always like the leaders, but always love me some Michelangelo. Donatello's great. Raphael's great. I'm really excited for this, to see where it's going to take this new iteration of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It does look like it's going to be CG animated, but still maybe like a mix of 2D animation and CG animation. So that'll be interesting. But
kind of like
I'm
Clone Wars then.
Yeah, maybe more like Clone Wars. That's probably a really great analogy. The Seth Rogen post, it's like a doodle page. It's got a little Stussy S on it, which from the 90s is amazing. It's got it doesn't reveal much in terms of plot details, but it's got some jokes about Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello, along with April O'Neil. Oh, here it is. It says movie.
Oh, okay. I'm 0% sure.
See, this is why we should probably do prep work before we start. But Yeah, along with their friend April Neal, who's presumably confirmed for this movie now, which is no great surprise when the reporter has appeared in pretty much every iteration of the franchise. So it's a movie. Good to know. But maybe it's still going to be.
Just throw away everything I said then. Just cut that out.
We'll cut it all out.
It'll be about 30-second
30-second rundown. Anyway, very excited for it. Again, August 11th, 2023. So, the way that they announce these things so far in advance now, it really, now we won't think about it for about a year and a half until we get a trailer. Next on the rundown, we have A Quiet Place Part 2 is setting new pandemic records. I know, Brett, you went and saw this movie yesterday. I'm still needing to go see it. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see how this plays off of the first one, what they do with it. A little bit of thoughts on it. You went and saw it yesterday?
I did go see it yesterday. If you like the first one, you're gonna like the second one. I mean, yeah. John Krasinski just knows his audience.
Yep. He's good.
I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I'll say one thing I liked is, right, the first thing that comes on, there's trailers, and then there's John Krasinski just comes right up. Boom, it's him.
That's the way I want it to be.
And he's, oh no, this isn't the movie. This is just him talking to the audience. He thanks you.
Even better.
I know. He says, Brett King, thank you for coming to my show.
He's so good at what he does.
Let Diz know I can't wait till he gets here. But no, he does come up
enough.
And he thinks, he kind of says, this is a big deal for, after the pandemic. And he always had a finger on the pulse with his show there.
Yeah.
And he thanks you for coming out and braving and seeing his show and supporting, what's going on there in your local theater.
Yep.
Which is a nice touch, I think.
Yeah.
But then the movie kicks off, and if you like the first one, they do a real good job of keeping the exact same pacing and tone throughout the entire movie that they did in the first movie. And obviously, I don't want to give anything away, but they do a very good job of first they give you a little bit of the origin story of day one. Because if you remember in part one, they always said this is day
I don't
400
remember.
And whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty far into it. Yeah.
But they did day one and they had a quick intro, maybe 15 or 20 minutes of day one and kind of what happened.
Pretty good intro. Yeah.
It was really good. And then after that, it goes back to it picks up exactly where part one ended. They're down in the basement, they're coming up the steps.
Yep.
And they do a good job of keeping that tone of desperate the entire movie till the end. Because if you remember the first one, the entire movie, it's the heroes at no point have the upper hand.
Right.
They've got their backs to the wall and they are just trying to survive. And then the only time you get a glimmer of hope is the last 2 minutes. There's a glimmer of hope. Oh my God, this is something that happened. Then he turns it off.
Nice.
And the movie's over. And the second one does the exact same thing. It's a tone of desperate. It's a new kind of desperate throughout the entire time. And they do a good job of
they have a newborn baby with them now, which totally changes the dynamic.
It kind of changes the dynamic. The most useless character is the son, the one that always identifies the right decision and then does the opposite. But, we were
so even the baby's better behaved.
Yeah, in the theater we were talking, if I've got the son and the newborn baby, I'm gonna be you stay here and protect the camp. We're gonna go this way. We're also gonna take all the food, ammo, the survival stuff. You start new encampment here, boy.
Yeah, you're gonna do great, kid. You're gonna do great.
He does have his moments in the movie, so he
good.
I guess he has his kind of come to manhood moment finally, which is good.
Okay. Well, and so that's good to know. And again, thank you for no spoilers.
You're welcome.
I really like the fact that this movie is kind of being the first movie to really push people back to the cinemas and, really get back into the mindset of let's go back to the movies. We're big movie fans here, so we want to, and there's certain movies that you just have to see in theaters. I mean, I would put this one up there. I haven't seen it yet, but I would say it's probably best experienced in a theater. And then Godzilla versus Kong, that you had to see that in the theater if you didn't see it. And so it's doing very well. It's setting pandemic records, 5-day opening total of almost 50 million. So congrats, Mr. Krasinski.
I'm sure he's watching.
You're the man. I know he's a big fan, I heard. And so thank you for watching, Mr. Krasinski. You just continue to hit home runs. He's a home run hitter and we love him. And
Can't wait
Quiet Place Part 3 is
Can't
yeah,
wait.
I know. He's going to be a great read. It's just going to be a great read. Please make that happen. But Quiet Place Part 3 is officially in development. So
I didn't know that. That's good.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing where that goes. I know they're going to do a spinoff and maybe even a continuation of this story. And again, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what's going on, but looking forward to where they take the next one. Next on the rundown, we get into our comic news, and we haven't really covered a lot of comic news on, if at all, on the Nerd Rundown because I haven't read comics in a long time, and I'm not into the current day comics, so I can't really speak to them. I want to be able to at least sound somewhat informed when I speak to things, and so when some of these comic news updates came out this week, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity with Brett on the show to talk some comics. And the first one came out is Venom gets a new creative team later this fall, possibly an updated look with a new series launching in November. Obviously, he's got a movie coming out later this year, which, we've seen over the last 10 plus years or so, how it used to be the comics are influencing the movies, and now the movies are sort of influencing the comics in a way. And so, Brett, you've read a lot more Venom than I have. And so what are your thoughts on him getting a new creative team? Maybe possibly a new updated look. I don't know how you can update Venom too much, but we'll see.
You can take that with a grain of salt. Marvel pushes a lot of this news of like new updated this and issue number 1, because issue number 1 sell. Like people go out and they buy issue number 1s because we've got that ingrained in our head that if it's a 1, it's going to be worth something someday. But It doesn't necessarily be the case so usually whenever they bring in a new team, they'll call it number one, they'll update the look, and it might be extremely similar to it. An updated look might only mean it's a new artist and it's just their take on it. It might look very similar. It's just, It might be the difference between like the Eddie Brock where he's huge and like the Eddie Brock where he's in the Ultimate Universe where he's smaller.
Yeah.
I don't know who the new creator is. Like I read a lot of Spider-Man. Venom I know about because of that.
Yeah.
They had a big line. Donny Cates had a big line with King in Black, where it really went in the origin story of Venom and the planet that the symbiote came from, and Null, which was the king of the symbiotes. I think I'm always interested to see the first issue. Usually I'll check out first issues and go from there.
Yeah. And I know your brother's a big Venom fan. I don't know if he's planning on checking this out or not. But BT, if you're out there and you're listening and you get a chance to check this out later on this year, let us know what you think of it. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on it. So we'll see if it kind of runs in line with the movie coming out later this year.
I don't think it will.
No? Okay.
Cates, well, he's not the one writing it anymore, but I don't think it will.
Cool. Okay.
That's the end of my story.
What's the guy on The Mandalorian say? I have spoken.
I
have spoken. Hulk being relaunched by Marvel with Donny Cates, who you just were mentioning, and Ryan Otley seeking an answer to the hero's anger. So this is another new issue coming up centered around the Hulk, and I think this is an interesting angle to take on the hero, where you're trying to figure out why is he so mad? What makes the Hulk tick? What do you think makes the Hulk tick, Brett? Why is he so mad?
Old Taco Bell. That's all you can think. It's just so much better.
They took away Baja Blast from Taco Bell where he's from. I'd be angry too.
I think Cates is a good choice for this. I'll say he's at this moment in time, he would be the hottest hand at Marvel. Him and I'm going to blank on the guy's name, but he was just writing Daredevil. I'll look it up later.
Yeah, go ahead.
I should remember his name because I stood in line to get him to sign Daredevil #1 for me.
But if you're starting to realize when you sit in this chair, your brain just shuts off things that you need to know.
But anyway,
just like
Cates he's probably their Marvel's best writer, I would say right now. He's very creative. The only thing that I would be, I don't know, leery of, and nothing. He gets put on so many projects, like you can only get stretched so thin. Right. I think he's a good one to put on this. They had the Savage Hulk here, which was that was a very good run because that kind of went into the darker parts of the Hulk and really explored his power levels.
Yeah.
And I think Cates is a good one to bring in because he will definitely put a new twist on things that we might not be expecting. He's done runs recently like Cosmic Ghost Rider, which you hear Ghost Rider and you think Johnny Blaze, and it's not him. It's right. Frank Castle. Frank Castle is the Cosmic Ghost Rider, and he makes a deal with Mephisto to Mephisto. I might be completely off base here. It might be
Dormammu.
I think it's Mephisto. It might be Galactus if I'm wrong. But he makes a deal with someone because I'm not a big Ghost Rider. I love me some Frank Castle, but not Frank Castle. Ghost Rider. But,
yeah.
So he's out in outer space. He's out in outer space. Wow. I think it is Galactus because I think he's out and about doing the Herald stuff.
Okay. Oh, okay. He was made a Herald of Galactus?
And
much like Silver Surfer.
I think that's the run. Again, that's not one that I read, but then he did like at the exact same time he was doing some Guardians of the Galaxy work. At the exact same time he was doing some Silver Surfer work. At the exact same time he was working on like Absolute Carnage, which was a pretty big event in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, didn't a lot of people get the Carnage symbiote? What was that one? Or am I thinking of everybody became Venom?
Oh yeah, you're thinking of the Venom. That was kind of I think that was part of King in Black where he was.
Oh yeah.
Everybody was a symbiote. That's where you see all the figures that are like Gwenom and
right. Gwenom.
It is. That's one. Gwenom is one. I forget the Deadpool version, but there's a Deadpool version. There's an everyone version.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, interesting angle to take on the Hulk. If there's any Hulk fans out there, let us know what you think about this possible run coming up. Again, with Donny Cates being the hot hand at Marvel, like you said, Brett, probably going to be pretty good, and we'll see where it goes. But interesting to really dive into why is Hulk so angry? Hulk always so angry, like raging fire. Next on the rundown, we have the final saga of Marvel Comics, Sorcerer Supreme, beginning this September. And this was an interesting announcement this past week with not a lot of details coming out about it, but it talks about how this is the end of Stephen Strange as the Sorcerer Supreme, which is a bit odd if they're going to end his run right before Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness comes out next year in theaters. What are your thoughts on this? And who do you think would be a good person to take up the mantle of the Sorcerer Supreme?
Well, first of all, I don't think it'll be giving the mantle down and forever. It's Doctor Strange. He's Doctor Strange. He's the Sorcerer.
It's also comics. Nobody dies.
So they're going to give it away for a little while, and then he's going to get it back.
Yeah.
I think right now they should
maybe right before the movie comes out.
Right. Well, no, I think it'll be longer than that. But I think they should be like right now, like you've got Scarlet Witch, who's a hot name right now. I feel like it should be like I feel like that would feed. You can go one of two ways. Like I feel like you could either feed into the shows and be like, this is, you've got Wanda. She's learning some of the mystical arts and go from there and kind of follow the movies, or you could be hard headed and be like, we're gonna go away from that and go completely different.
Right. Yeah, you got characters like Magic from the X-Men universe be a good candidate. I wouldn't even be surprised if you saw Loki become the Sorcerer Supreme.
That'd be a good run, actually.
I'd
read that.
Yeah, I'd totally read that. That would be definitely interesting for sure.
Because he's a great character, but you can't trust that dude.
No, yeah. So I'm so excited.
He will take the Tesseract. He will take it.
He will, yes.
You put
He will take the time stone
in the same room, and he just loses his mind.
How many times is he going to? This is like 3 times he's already taken it. So yeah, it's interesting. It'd be really cool. I can't wait to see who they pick as the replacement for however long it might be. But Strange will be back in the Sorcerer
probably be Dr.
role
Octopus
at some point.
Dr. Octopus always takes over.
In his mind, he'll put Strange in his mind somehow. So cool. That also, as I knocked my mouse for the 3rd time, that leads into our next little last piece of the rundown is which Thor: Love and Thunder wrapped this past week. And what's interesting about that is, so we just talked about Sorcerer Supreme's run ending. Another comic run is about to end in the Mighty Thor, which is where Jane Foster picks up Mjolnir and becomes the Mighty Thor. And that has some big elements playing into Thor and Love and Thunder, which is the new Thor movie, which comes out next year.
I think it's February. I think it's Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, that would be. Yeah, I think
which is
right.
Romantic. I mean, you don't get better than that.
Super romantic, and so
it's not like taking your girl to see Chris Hemsworth. Like,
yeah, that'll get him in the mood, right?
That gets him. That makes them look. They look next to you in the chair, and they're like,
yeah, it gets them in the mood.
Yeah.
I brought you here. I mean, that's shows some humbleness on your part. So that story. This is an instance where the maybe the comics are influencing movies a little bit, because this was a very popular run. You didn't read it at first, but you just got done reading. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Here's what what was in the comics and what I kind of hope to see go to the movie. Obviously, I don't know if you want to call spoilers. I mean, this was written like 2000.
Yeah, it started in like 2015 or something.
Yeah, 14 or something like that. It was a while back. So I don't know. Here's your spoiler warning if you plan on going back and read that. Yeah. Obviously Jane Foster is Thor, yeah. But at the time, that's kind of the beginning stages of Thor the Unworthy. So it's when he put his hammer down on the moon and then he just couldn't pick it up. And everybody was traveling from all around the cosmos to try and pick up his hammer to be the Thor. On
our moon?
Yeah, on our moon. I mean, what other moons are there?
There's no other moons in the universe.
Ours is the capital of the universe. Our moon happens to be the capital.
It's the center of the
universes.
Yeah.
They call it the mooniverse. But yeah.
Okay.
He puts it down and everyone's traveling from all over to try and pick it up. And then one day it's just gone. And he's unworthy, so obviously he can't pick it up. But he wants to know, like, where it is. So he's kind of traveling around trying to find it, and then all of a sudden there's
he doesn't know where he put it.
He put it down, but it got picked up. It's gone. Like when you put something down, someone picks it up, you don't know where it got to.
But it's not like just anybody can come pick up Mjolnir on the moon.
Well, that's kind of the base of the story.
Okay.
Like he's trying to fit. It starts out as a mystery, like who is, and they do a really good job of like there's a lot of issues and you have no idea who she is, and there's just this blonde-haired beauty flying around with Mjolnir, kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah.
And he's trying to figure out who this is. So he kind of puts together a list of who he thinks that might be, and he has like everybody he knows, like he's got Valkyrie, he's got Jane Foster, he's got
Sif.
He's got I forget the sister's name that came in from the Spawn universe, but he's got everyone, every female that might be from Captain Marvel down, like any female that might have been able to pick it up. And he's kind of going around with this list, just crossing names off. And he gets to Jane Thor. And at the time,
Jane Foster.
Yeah, Jane Foster. And I just gave it away just like that.
No spoilers.
At the time, her husband and kid had just died in a car crash. and she had breast cancer, and so she was going through chemo, so she didn't have hair, she was thin, she looked
Sickly.
not like a Thor.
Yeah,
So he immediately just crosses her name off and drives on.
What an idiot.
And eventually, you find out it is her, but when she picks it up, like, the cancer is gone.
Where does she pick it up?
Obviously on the moon.
How does she get to the moon when she has cancer?
I don't remember. I wish you'd asked me that like yesterday, so we looked that up.
You should definitely look that up at some point and let me know, because that's
at the time
question.
She was living in Asgard.
Okay.
And Volstagg would take her to her chemo therapies. So like he come down to Earth with they take the Bifrost Express, boom, hit the hospital. He'd be sitting in the waiting room eating hot dogs.
Did Walt Simonson write this?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
It was Walt Simonson's Thor run.
But I can look at it. I got it. Right
I know he was a main Thor writer for a long time. He wrote some great Thor stuff in the mid 2000s.
Aaron and Dauterman. But I mean, that's just the names on it. Like
I think Aaron is the artist.
Yeah, one of them is one. I guess I can look at the next page. Writer was Jason Aaron. Jason Aaron, yeah. And then
that makes
Russell
sense.
Dauterman was the artist.
Okay. Jason Aaron.
Let me finish giving the credits here. Color artist.
Jason Aaron.
Jason Aaron. And the cover art was Russell Dauterman and Matthew Wilson. So it was a really small project, really.
Yeah. Jason Aaron wrote some really good stuff too. So Walt Simonson must have. I think he was the writer right before Jason Aaron, but he wrote some really good Thor stuff there in the mid 2000s, right around the Dark Reign time. I think was that like 2010, maybe 2012. Do you remember?
I couldn't tell you that.
I'm probably right. So
we'll go right. I usually 93%.
Go ahead.
But he finds out it is her, and when she holds the hammer, the cancer's kind of gone.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
So
she just puts it down for like the night, and she's got the cancer for the night.
She tucks it in its little Mjolnir bed.
But it's comic logic, so when she throws it, she still has the power. It's still good. As long as you throw it, it's fine. But if you set it down, it's like, what the hell? You're taking your powers away. But so that comic run's coming to an end.
Oh, that's been at an end. That one's been at an end.
Oh, it's done.
Yeah, that
when did that finish?
It was only, well, I can tell you, it wasn't that many issues. Like 30 some issues, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good chunk.
It started in 2014, and it was over by 2015.
For some reason, I felt like it ran longer than that. But I trust you. I trust you.
Well, he eventually becomes worthy, and he got his hammer back.
From the moon? Did he get it from the moon again?
No, he got it back. He just took it from her.
Give me back my hammer.
Give me back my boy.
So I guess with that, give me back my son. Yeah, the ransom quote. With that ending and it leading into Thor: Love and Thunder, very excited for that movie. We've talked about it a little bit on the show. Definitely anything Taika Waititi does, and Chris Hemsworth is very talented. And have you seen some of the behind-the-scenes photos that they've shared with how big he got for this movie?
Yeah, he's massive.
My God, that guy! This is unbelievable what he does.
I'm interested to see what does actually carry over from the comic run, because it's got was it Gore the God Killer? Yeah,
Gore. Christian Bale's playing Gore the God Killer. Mm-hmm.
And he's not in that comic run whatsoever.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that they're not going to pull in elements. And I think right now,
and that's really what they usually do. Like the Civil War movie pulled in elements, and it's never really a direct adaptation. And sometimes they pull in multiple stories from the comics in one movie. So I'm interested to see if Guardians of the Galaxy, how much they play into Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm excited to see
what it has to play into some, because he's on the ship. Yeah,
that's where we left off, right? So
yeah.
I'm excited to see how they bring in Zeus and the Greek gods for this story. Mm-hmm. It's going to be huge.
It'll be interesting to see how they do it.
I'm excited to see Valkyrie as the king of Asgard. So see what they do with that.
I think it'd be a good way to. I hope they keep. If they keep one thing, I hope they keep kind of the cancer thing, because that's like. I mean, that's a
totally.
That's a powerful message to send, and I think it also explains.
You can cure cancer if you pick up Mjolnir.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
No, but I like because I didn't know that, and you filling me in on the cancer part.
It's a twist that like we
it's
haven't
a
seen.
twist. Yeah, it's a really good twist. That's a
we don't need another. We don't need another origin story. I mean, we know the Thor origin story. We don't need to see it again.
Yeah,
we need to see something new.
Right, and it's not like Jane Foster has, she's not been like a bright spot for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Her character, especially in the Thor: The Dark World, and I think took a lot of flack.
I think that's a good way to pick it up. Like, where did she go? What's she been doing? Oh, she had cancer. And at this moment in time, Thor's not running around with Mjolnir.
Right.
Like, he had to give it back.
Yeah. And so, to 2013. Yeah.
And so he's got Stormbreaker, and Jane Foster's been MIA for quite a few years. And you could explain she got cancer jumping through all those portals in different worlds and being in different places. You could really explain it extremely easy.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And keep a lot of the same elements of the comic and put it in the movie instead of just kind of running with. Great
point.
Thank you. That's what you brought me here for some great points.
That's one. That's your first one, but hopefully you make more. No, great point. But that does wrap up our rundown for the day. Again, it was a short week. I think it's going to be a big week next week. Netflix. I'm not sure if this is an internet-wide thing.
What is Netflix?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm not sure if this is an internet-wide thing or if it's Netflix only. But next week is called Geeked Week, and I know for a fact Netflix is leaning into it, so it might just be a Netflix thing. But they're just gonna bombard us with new TV show news, TV show trailers, movie trailers, all this stuff in the geek world. So hopefully we see stuff for the Sandman, we see stuff for Stranger Things season 4, stuff like that. It's going to be a big rundown next week. So short rundown this week. I think we're just gearing up for that big week, which is great because it gives us a little bit more time to talk about toys and how much we love toys. So moving on to our special segment, I want to quote Natalia Simonova right into the show if you know who that is. You're like boys with toys.
Like you are like boys with their toys.
Yeah, you're like boys with their toys. I don't know. That's just a movie quote that's kind of always stuck with me because I like toys. So I want to talk first about the impact toys have had on our lives, yours and mine. And I'll start with you, Brett, with you being the special guest host. And obviously you're a little bit more into toys still now than I am.
I don't know what gives you that idea.
If I didn't have kids, I'd probably be totally into more toys. So tell us about toys. Like what from your your first toy that you can remember, whatever you want to talk about.
The first toy that I remember was Christmas. It was Christmas, and I remember coming downstairs and coming to the Christmas tree, and I can remember the exact spot and the disgusting brown carpet that my parents used to have in the living room that I sat in. Yeah, and it happened to be
you had your own spot on the carpet.
Well, I mean, I just sat down because I was excited to get some toys. Like, I don't know, it's Christmas. Like, you get down, you sit down wherever you can get to.
Wherever you can.
You're lucky if you don't slide into the tree as you're trying to get to a spot.
Right. Yep.
But it was a year that my parents, instead of like putting a name on a name tag on all the toys, they'd been like, all right, every present with this color is a Brett present. Everyone with this color is a Tavis, who's my older brother, and everyone with this one is a BT present. So I remember going around.
What color were you?
That was green. Everything was always green for me. Of course. And I remember going around and opening it, and I don't know. Can I share my screen real quick? I'll show you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You want to give a little hint as to what you're going to show us?
No, because it's opening a present. Like
it's okay. We're like opening a present right now.
You open the present and
okay, we're taking the wrapping off
and
right
first,
now.
Well, no. First, you see the shape of the toy, and it's like when it's got that like thin top and it kind of comes down.
Yep.
It's like that's where the action figure is, and I remember opening it and.
Oh yeah, it's classic Ghostbuster. Peter Venkman. Man, that is.
And I was
That's hooked. Some nostalgia right there. Holy cow!
From day one, I was hooked.
That was your first action figure.
That was my first action figure. I loved that thing, man. I mean, to tell you the truth, I'm here at school and I've got action figures in my desk. I've got action figures everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, we've always had action. I'm not at my work desk right now where I have some action figures, but action figures are the biggest part of probably my childhood. I mean, getting the newest X-Men action figure or whatever action figure came out. One of my favorite all-time action figures actually is the Captain Stephen Hiller action figure from Independence Day. So that was a good one. Okay, so that was your first one. And you were hooked on action figures from there.
And I had tons of Ghostbusters. I had a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, they were big. They had those awesome brown weapons.
Yeah.
They didn't color them. They were just molded.
Brown.
Now as an adult, I know
it was okay for Donatello, but for Leonardo's, he got a brown sword.
They were mold injected, which I now know now as an adult. That's how the toys were made, which is why they were all the same color. But there was that one. Then I got into Crash Test Dummies. I remember I loved the crap out of them. Those were a lot of fun. There's nothing like getting a toy that you're supposed to destroy. It's like they were made specifically to lose their parts, so you would buy another one. Like
right.
Genius.
Yeah.
Impact wise, like I would say it impacted my mom the most because I made her spend a lot of money. I could make some wheeling and dealing with my mom on the fly, which is why like every now and again, like I'll buy her something or she'll be like, "Can you pick this up for me?" And she's like, "What was it? What do I owe you?" And I'm like, "You paid." Already.
Lannister always pays their debts. Believe me, I've got my debt to you. And so even like getting into the army, right, where we're supposed to grow up and toys aren't a big thing, we still we still got our own toys. And even now out of the army, you're an adult and you're a high school teacher, you've got toys all over your desk. Toys will always be a big part of our life, and so as you can see, Brett, it's really, really big part of Brett's life. So
and the only thing that's changed now, I just don't open them. Like it's really
right,
weird.
Yeah, it's like weird how that transition goes from you open it and play with them to now it's like don't take them out of the box.
And from a collector standpoint, like there's people that are like, I mean, they open them, they like posing them, they like putting them in positions and doing scenes and taking pictures.
That's some of my favorite photography is action figure photography.
They're spot on. But for me, it's like
so cool they do it.
I don't know. For me, it's like part of my love for action figures was like I always kept the package after I opened it, and I don't know why I used to pretend that like, oh no, they were like freezing them in carbonite and you put them back in the package. And it was always like that was the villains. It was always my villain's plan was to get them frozen back in the packaging.
Yeah.
But then you flip it over, you see the back of it, and you see all the
ones you can get. Yeah. Oh man, I growing up, the big action figures in my life were the X-Men ones from the 90s, and
a lot of X-Men.
We'll talk about like the triangle of toys and stuff moving forward, but X-Men, and then GI Joes were a big thing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were a big thing in the 80s and early 90s. But I didn't call them action figures. I didn't call them toys. I call them my men. So I always set them up, in my room, and just big. It was always like one or two action figures against all of my action figures, and it was like this huge battle that I'd set up, and I'd have my mom come in and I'd be like, come check out, my room. I set up my men for a battle, and it was like, she's like, you're 16, Baron, stop doing this. And so
It's not cute anymore.
It's like, take a picture real quick. But that was just like the most fun you could have as a kid.
And the first signs that your mom had that you had problems.
Right. Yeah. I was like, it's the early signs of being a nerd. Right. So toys have, and even to this day, so my dad has a saying, and it's stuck with me ever since. And the saying is, a man's got to have his toys. And it's kind of like what kind of nerd you are. What you could be any kind of nerd. Toys don't have to be action figures, and we'll get into like what's next and for toys, how they've evolved over years and what's next for them. But a man's toys can be anything, and even to this day, I'm like, I consider my TV a toy. It's a man's toy, so it does a bunch of different things. There's certain kinds of toys. If you get a really cool electric drill or something, that could be a toy, something like that. It's so a man's got to have his toys. Dad always said that growing up, and it's stuck with me. Cool car could be a toy, anything like that.
3D printing is huge. That's my toys. Like I love 3D printing because I can make my own damn action figures.
You don't have to rely on your mom to buy you toys anymore. Just print them yourself. So toys have been a huge part of our lives, and I loved my X-Men action figures. Trying to find the cool Cyclops action figure was always tough. What'd you just say?
I said there's not a cool.
Did you just say? I'm doing the show by myself the rest of the show. The one toy that always eluded me as a kid, though, was the Luke Skywalker in black with the green lightsaber. That was always you could never find that one. And now it's everywhere. So you can find that at your local Target. I still go to the, I know you do, and I still go to the.
I do not, because they're not one near me. But my girlfriend right now, she every now and again, like I'll be taking a nap because I'm an adult and I need naps, and I'll get a text from her at Target and be like, "Do you have this one?" And she did it to me on Friday, I think, and it was the Falcon, the new Falcon.
In the Captain America suit.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But
you got a good girlfriend there.
Yeah, obviously. I told her not to pick that one up because they're notorious. Like Target and Walmart and them are notorious for like people going in and like because they always come with a build-a-figure, a piece to another figure, and they're notorious for yoinking that out and leaving the main figure because people that don't know what they're looking for are like, oh, here's a cool action figure. Mom will come by and be like, oh, you want this one? Boom, here you go, and you don't even know you just got ripped off.
Brett King is a master napper, by the way. We used to drive to the Burger King on base, which was maybe a 45-second drive, and he would take a nap in that time. So he could fall asleep at any point, at any time, and it wouldn't be like a fake nap. He would be eyes closed, mouth open. That's how he's sleeping. His mouth is open, and he'd snore a little bit. So master napper Brett King. Okay, let's talk about how toys have impacted the world. So this is the biggest segment of it all. It's like, how have toys impacted the world? And let's start with the triangle analogy that you brought up last night in our pre-production meeting. Talk about that.
Well, it started in the 80s where it was like there was, and they've really lost it now. I feel bad for kids now. They don't have Saturday morning cartoons like we used to. I mean, now you've got Netflix and Disney Plus and everything where you can watch whatever you want at any point. But we used to have to wait till Saturday. And that made Saturday something to look forward to. Saturday morning.
Awesome.
And so Saturday morning, you'd get up, you'd maybe if you were lucky, you got a bowl of cereal that was good and not shredded wheat or something. And you sat down and your parents wanted to sleep in and they're asleep, and you would wake up at the crack of dawn to come down and get that bowl of cereal so you could put everything away. And then when they woke up, you could have a second bowl of cereal because they didn't know it. And maybe that's why
That's where I started.
That's where it started. But you had Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
And Saturday morning
best time of my life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was like when you were watching the show, the advertisements come on, and then there would be action figures or toys for that show, that exact show that you were watching. And it was always like the same kind of advertisement, kids playing with toys, setting things up. They always had a great environment where like rocks would tumble down and hit the villains.
Like fake cities or something. Yep. Yeah.
It was always wonderful. It was amazing.
I was like, cool, I want that toy.
But you'd have the cartoon, you'd have the toy, and you'd have the comic. And they just all kind of drove each other. That would be the kind of the triangle. And lots of times the comic would come first, like with the Ninja Turtles, and that would drive the cartoon. And when the cartoon came, well, that made the toys. And then they would all just kind of keep pushing the next one to the next level. And so it's just this perfect triangle where toys drive sales of the show, and the show drives sales of the comics. And it can go in any order. It's not like it has to go in a order, but they all drive each other to be better.
Yeah, definitely. And you still get a little bit of that today. So in the movies today, every hero gets a new suit every movie so that they can sell more toys. Right. Even Batman, like you can't do too many iterations on Batman. But I mean, back in the day, they had like everything kind of Batman. They had like submarine Batman. But today they try to change up his suits so that they can sell as many Batman toys as they possibly can. And that kind of merchandise really influences those kind of decisions when it comes to the TV shows and movies of today. So you get a little bit of that, but man, there was nothing like Saturday morning watching the X-Men cartoon with your own the best theme song of all time. I don't care what you say. Argue with a wall on that.
I wouldn't say anything. I would say it's pretty accurate.
Yeah. So you have your action figures in your hand while you're watching it, and you're the X-Men comics in the 90s really carried Marvel, because Marvel, it was a weird time for comics in the 90s. Like Captain America became a werewolf, and there was a lot of weird stuff. But the X-Men comics, Jim Lee drawing the comics, that was the best X-Men run in my mind. I mean,
still is.
Chris Claremont's 80s X-Men run is pretty good, and
I mean, it's no Hellfire Gala, but it's something.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Fruit.
Yeah, I said whatever the fruit that is. So anyway, the impact it's had on the world is very significant, and you see that when a hero changes its costume or whatever, so they can sell more toys. And some of the toys that they're selling today, oh my God, if I was a kid today, just some of the toys, how they've evolved over time, it is incredible. And it's actually funny how different toys are now. You even have, say, like, you look behind you, one of the most popular brands of toys in the world is Funko Pop, right? Mm-hmm. Funko Pop are so cool for what, like, they don't do anything, but everybody wants to have a Funko Pop of the latest. And
you can get them in anything.
And anything. Like, you go to your local nerd store and it's just aisles of Funko Pop, and I'm like, I could never have enough money for this, but I want them all.
I was watching one this morning on YouTube, and it was Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park. You know that one scene where he's
laying down
and he's
got the
chest. And it's the Funko Pop of that. It's like,
yes,
who would want that? But it's like someone has to.
I kind of do want that.
There
actually
had to be some data that proved that was worth making.
Oh, totally. And I sent it to you not too long ago. They have the Spider-Man meme where he's pointing at the other Spider-Man, and they made a Funko Pop out of that. Like,
oh, yeah, you did.
You just buy two Spider-Man and put them in front of each other, and you have that, but they still made a Funko Pop out of it. So Funko Pop is awesome. I have a John McClane Funko Pop that I love. That I drew some blood on his foot because they left that detail out. But anyway, it how they've evolved over time. So what's next?
Let me back you up one sec.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the biggest impacts on the world was it made us smarter. First of all, like,
yeah, Mr. Engineer, tell us about it.
When they had back in the 80s when they were having all these toys and TV shows, and the TV regulators are like, oh, this is gonna rot these kids' brains, and so they started making them have that public service announcement at there had to be some sort of educational piece in every cartoon we watch, and lots of times they'd put it at the end and they'd be like, well, that's where like the G.I. Joe, the more you know kind of came in. And so we got smarter. I mean, could they think of Schoolhouse Rock today? I mean, conjunction, junction.
What's your function?
And that stuff that's engraved in our brains because of toys and TV and
cartoons. Yeah. That's a great point.
It's two. I got two now. 2 great points.
I've got 0, so you're winning. I mean, you get to 4 points and you get invited back on the show at some point. So you're halfway there.
It's a lot of pressure.
I know. Well, maybe I'll cut you off before you get to the 4th one. Anyway, what's next for toys? I want to talk about what's next because, like I said, toys today are so different than what they were when we were growing up. I mean, our guys were like, that's basically all they could do, and
they got a couple points of articulation, and now it's like, man, they especially with the Spider-Man toys, like they can put some articulation in him.
Yeah. One point I didn't make in the impact is you've seen some really big movies centered around toys. Like obviously you have the Toy Story, you have the Toy Story movies, which are huge, but you also have some other movies like Toy Soldiers?
Toy Soldiers was one, yeah.
Yeah. That one was a great movie where they come alive and.
Well, you're in. Not to mention the Lego movie, like.
There you go. That's another
and then
one.
you think of all the video games that came out not because of that, but like Lego, they know what they're doing. It's like they went and they got the rights to everything.
Yeah, I mean, totally.
Even Marvel and Disney can't put Batman and the Turtles and all these different people in the same movie, but Lego can because they have the rights to everything.
Yeah.
It's because they're a toy company. Like if you don't want to go with Connects, you don't want to go with Mega Blocks, you got to go with Legos.
Right. And that's a good segue to what's next, right? Because what's coming out for Lego's like the big name in toys here, along with Funko Pop and you have Lego stores. You didn't have that necessarily when we were kids, or at least I didn't.
That's because we had Toys R Us. You didn't need Lego store because you had flipping Toys R Us.
Toys R Us, man, what a great. I always think I got my toys from Walmart or Target growing up. I didn't ever really get to go into Toys R Us, maybe because I would just throw a tantrum if I got in there and I didn't get what I wanted. But Toys R Us, what a great store that we don't have anymore. But anyway, Lego is.
Sometimes look in the history. There's I don't know if you want to give a shout out to another YouTube, but there's one called Company Man. Course.
Okay.
Called Company Man. He goes into like a lot of companies and the rise and fall, and he goes into Toys R Us, and they're an interesting story.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, definitely we want to shout out as many people as we can on this show. So Company Man, I don't know. Probably we're like, we're averaging 100 viewers a week, which is really, I'm really happy about that.
It'll be 99 because I'm probably not going to watch the one I'm in because I'm in it.
You should watch yourself.
I mean, but to be fair, I'm probably gonna put it on the screen here at school and be like, all right, everyone's watching this thing. And that's what, 4 periods a day. So maybe it'll be 103.
104 views. I like it. So Lego's the big name in toys, right? And what Lego's doing, what they've done and what they are doing is incredible. The movies have been great. The Lego Batman movie was great. The first movie with Chris Pratt was humongous. And some of the cool stuff that's coming out in Legos here coming up, they have a daily Bugle set, which is, it's going to set the record for the most mini action figures released in one set.
I can show that actually.
Yeah, let's bring it up there. Look at that beautiful thing. So it's got 25, right? 25 little. Can you
Boom!
zoom
There
in?
they are.
Oh, look at that. Okay. I mean, you got guys like Punisher, Daredevil, who aren't necessarily tied to Spider-Man universe, but cross over quite a bit with them.
I'm gonna get Blade.
Oh, you got Blade.
And what's neat about
you got Firestar. That's cool.
Well, she was in that. What was it? What was that cartoon? Spider-Man and
Spider
Friends?
Pig, Spider-Man, him. Yes, yeah, with Iceman.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he didn't make this one, but he's kind of a bigger name.
Yeah, he is. But that's so cool. I mean, you got Sam. That's a cool Sandman. Look at that Sandman.
And actually, it's a cool. He builds up taller, so because he's got blocks that build him taller.
Oh man, that's cool.
But
is Miles? Was it Miles in there?
Yeah, there's a Miles.
No, there he is. Yeah, in the red.
Yeah, right there. Boom, boom.
So that's really cool. I got an Aunt May and a Peter Parker. So stuff like this that they're doing. I mean, I think this is going to be like a few $100 at least, right?
Yeah, it's 300.
300. So,
yeah. And I think it's the tallest.
It's the tallest, and
it's the tallest one.
It's the most comprehensive, because if you look at, let's say, like the Avengers Endgame set, it's much smaller. You look at that. Look, I mean, we all know how big the Avengers Endgame final battle was, and we know that there was more than Captain America, Wanda, Iron Man, Thor, and Black Panther. But what's really cool about that one is,
I played this game with you yesterday.
Find the other hero.
Count all the heroes that you see, all the minifigures, because you've got
Wanda,
Wanda,
Cap, with Mjolnir. That's cool.
Yep.
You have Iron Man,
and blonde hair. We got Thor.
Thor, is he fat Thor?
Actually, he is. I think it's the first time they've done. I think it's the first time they've done a larger. Like not like this large kind of Lego, but I think it's a larger Thor kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. And then you have Black Panther. And obviously you have Thanos, and then a minion.
The Chitauri.
Yeah, the Chitauri. Yeah, Chitauri. And then you have little itty bitty Ant-Man. And if they give a clue as to Ant-Man being it, because they give the big ugly brown van, like Cap says. And even Avengers Compound. Look how small Avengers Compound is.
That's because it was in pieces when he got.
It was in shambles. So, you look at, that's a huge final battle that they base it off of, and look how many pieces are in it. So then you go back to that Daily Bugle one, and you just see how immersive it is, and that opens up.
Every floor.
Every floor is different, and it's got tons of Spider-Man Easter eggs in it. And it's so cool. It's just one of those things that's like, you buy it, you put it together, and
down here you can see it. There's the.
Oh yeah, the building blocks for Sandman. Cool. I'm gonna have to get that at some point. Look at that. The Mysterio is so cool with the fishbowl.
I like his little cloth
Spider
cape.
Gwen. Yeah, his little cloth cape. Spider Gwen.
I love Doc. I'm a huge Doc Ock fan. The only thing I'll say I don't care about this one is it comes with the spider buggy. I'll never understand why they gave him a car. I
think it's just maybe an old Spider-Man joke, you know? Who knows?
Yeah, it's just a running joke. It's got to be.
Yeah. And then there's Firestar, who kind of takes the place of Human Torch, who's a big crossover with Spidey. There's times.
I forget. It was something to do with rights back when they made Spider-Man and his super friends or whatever. Something to do with the rights of who owned the rights to his TV.
Oh, to Human Torch. Okay.
Because they wanted Human Torch.
Yeah.
But I think they created her for that show.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah. The one, when was that? Like the 70s or 80s when that came out?
Yeah, something like that. I think my favorite part of this set is on the back. There's like a spider web, and it folds up, and he's got a backpack inside it because he's well known for hiding his backpack of stuff all over.
That's cool. I mean, you can't see it on this picture, but when you open it up, it's just full of Spider-Man Easter eggs. So it's cool.
They've got like Morbius on the TV screen. They've got Eddie Brock writing emails that Betty Brant isn't getting back to him on.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So that's
There's some right
kind
there. I
of.
mean, you've got Doc Connors, you've got Warren
I can't see it.
right here. You got Doc Connors right
Oh yeah, the lizard.
here. Mm-hmm. You got Sinister
Scarlet
Six.
Spider. Is that says?
Yeah, that's because you've got Warren here, who was the creator of.
Yeah.
He was the guy who made all the clones. Who turns out to be what's his name? I forget who he turns into. The Jackal. He's the Jackal, and he's the creator of the Scarlet Spider.
So for those of you that don't know, Brett's favorite hero is Spider-Man. He's a big Spidey guy, and we were hoping that the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer would get released this week so we could talk a little bit more about Spider-Man, but we got our Spidey talk in. And so it's stuff like that that's coming out. What's next for toys, and it's really exciting to see stuff like that. It's almost becoming more like toys are not necessarily to be played with. Like these are geared more towards like adults.
I can't tell who they're geared towards. Yeah, I can't.
It's crazy. So
I mean, you go to Walmart.
Maybe that's a good thing, you know. I don't care if a kid buys that and plays with it, but I've played with it. I just set it here and look at it.
Actually, we had a friend make this point, and I think you've talked about him on the show, Morgan. I was talking to him the other day, and he was talking about, you know, when we were kids, and we're like, man, you know, our parents, you know, had these toys and they gave them to us, and we played with them. But if we'd have kept them in the box, it'd be worth tons and things like that. Crazy. And now he's a parent, and he's like, am I supposed to be buying 2 of these now? Like, he's like, do I just not know that I'm supposed to be doing this? Because I knew it back then, but now I don't.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Morgan. That doesn't count for you. A point for you. So,
no, I've got one
good point. Now. Okay, good point, Morgan. So, what's your favorite toy of all time?
Of all time?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't answer that for you. I can't answer that for you. I mean, I can tell you, usually it's not the toy that is actually the thing you remember. It's the story behind the toy. Like I can tell you, I remember when I think it was a Christmas or something like that. We all wanted Power Rangers were big, and they had the flip head ones where you push their belt buckle. You know, you touch their crotch a little bit, and their head would and
yeah,
they're. I remember mom's like, oh, there are 6 of them. You know, there's the green, red,
yep,
pink, yellow, blue, and
white,
and black.
White.
Oh, white was green. White was green.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The White Ranger.
He takes his mask off. He's the White Ranger. Yeah.
But I remember, like, mom's like, oh, we're gonna get every one of these for you guys today, and she
big day.
She assumed like it was gonna be a quick trip to Kmart because that's what we had, and by no means, like we hit like Kmart, Walmart. We had to drive to Toys R Us, which was, I don't know, forever away, an hour away. We went to all kinds of stores looking for and it'd be like you'd find one at this one,
yep,
and you get the next one, and the hardest one to find. Which one do you think was the hardest one to find?
Pink.
No, Pink was popular. She was a popular character, so
yeah, she was.
They would have made more of hers.
Probably blue. Who's the least popular Power Ranger? I don't know who.
It was the Yellow Ranger. The Yellow Ranger was hard to find, and we ended up finding her. And we ended up finding her in the ball pit of Toys R Us, in the right place.
Wow!
Upon her, and it's the story behind it that makes us love those things. Like that's a memory that I can't forget. So. Right. I mean, my favorite toys are always going to be Spider-Man, but there's a lot of good stories behind them that you love.
Absolutely. I fully agree. I'm going to wrap this segment up and we'll get to some nerd questions, but I could talk toys with you all day. I mean, toys are still a huge part of our lives, and very excited to see where toys go from here, you know, and excited for you to make me a toy someday.
I've got it. It's right here.
I know. I'm waiting on it.
I know. I just primed it. Yeah, I'll pull it up here real quick.
Yeah, show me. Show the audience.
I don't know if you can see him very well because he's primed, but it's Captain America.
Yeah, but this is with his beard, right?
This is the beard head, but I've got the other head. But I'll paint them both so you can just kind of change however you want it to be.
It's so excited for that. It's
I'm gonna drop it.
one of the more famous Captain America comic covers where he's standing in front of a grave. And I think it might have been the start of the Winter Soldier run when he's standing in front of the grave. He's got a shield and you might be looking at Bucky's grave.
I got it right here. Boom.
Oh yeah, there it is. And it's got the most beautiful beard of all time. Chris Evans beard.
And I'm part of this guy's Patreon. But he does beautiful work. He just did that one. This is the one for this month that just came out. That's on the 3D printer right now.
Yeah, that is very pretty. Very pretty. So, okay, cool. Did I skip over something that you want to make a point?
No, but I could make points all day. I mean, I got two more. Oh yeah. Let me make one more point.
Yeah, I want to hear it. Let
me share my screen again.
Okay. All right. Brett King, the point maker.
So we're back to this story here. All right. First of all,
yeah.
We've heard the saying that trends, they come and go. Yeah. And so like this was a toy from back when we were young, but I think that nostalgia is bringing a lot of these things back. Big time. So like this is where I don't know if they're aiming these for our kids or for us. I think they're aimed at both because they're going to play off your nostalgia to remember this toy, to be like, I remember the moments I had with this toy.
Yeah.
And I want to create those moments for my kids. So I think they know that.
Yeah.
And so this one here is a re-release of the exact same packaging and toy.
That's cool.
And then
you can find it now in stores, right?
Yeah, now. And then they put this line out at the exact same time, which again is playing off that nostalgia. It's obviously the Ghostbusters 1,
right?
Where it's that original cast and crew. I'm cutting off Egon there.
Yeah,
but it's that nostalgia. It's like almost all toys play off that nostalgia now.
Big time.
Who
wouldn't want to recreate that?
Right. And so like this is clearly not aimed. These ones are clearly not aimed at kids because they don't know who these people are.
Right.
Like that's aimed at you and I, but they're found in the toy aisle because they know if they can get us there, we might buy this and we might buy the other one for our kids to create that moment. So it's like they're going for that too for every time they can get you to walk in the aisle. Yeah,
that's so cool. I'm pretty sure I had that Ray action figure because those goggles are.
This one
give me nostalgia feels.
The old one.
The old one.
And then
why is
and this is the 3D.
Why is Winston pointing the other way in that picture? Winston.
That's Egon. That's Egon because he's got his.
No, in the other picture. Winston's.
I think they're trying to show the pack because they all have the pack.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And so I think they're just trying to show that how gorgeous. I mean that pack is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. So cool.
And then that's the same guy that I get my 3D prints from, and he did a beautiful job with these. We'll
have to link his website in the show description when we release the show, so that you guys can take a look at what, because when Brett sent it to me, I spent like an hour just going through.
Oh man,
all the different kinds of stuff that you can print and
look at that
build.
One.
Look at that Spidey with the Sinister Six, right?
Yeah,
I can't really count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you got right. Oh, that's
Rhino
cool.
On the back.
Rhino, that's cool. Is that only 5? Am I only seeing 5?
Oh no, you got Shocker right here.
Oh, it's hard to see him. Yeah.
That's because his mask is in the way.
Cool. So
does that count as a point? I feel like that's 3. Nostalgia, driving toy sales.
100%. And I'll give you
ordered. No, I'm gonna get a free one. I'm gonna earn my next one. Don't you give me a thing.
Okay, I won't. All right, so love toys. Could talk with you for forever about toys, and we usually do. We usually talk about toys every time you and I talk. So thanks for suggesting toys for this episode. This is all welcome. From your brain. Let's get to the nerd box and answer some nerd questions. We got some really good ones. First one comes from a good friend of ours. We both know. We've seen him perform live on stage and had a good time. Corey Geezy, the very talented Corey Geezy.
Save Joe Roberts. Free Joe Roberts.
Free Joe Roberts, please give us more Joe Roberts. with whatever you need to do to make it happen, let me know. I will help out in any way. What are your top? He writes in. What are your top 5 picks for best standalone single seasons of a series of any genre? So the way I took this is, you have a great show like Lost, but what's the best season from Lost, and then what's the best season from like Game of Thrones? So, have you had time to think about this? Did you have a list? I want to hear it.
Oh, no, you go first. We go one for one. Want to go one for one?
Yeah, let's go one for one.
Are we going from 5 down or 1 up? Or no order?
No particular order.
Okay, no particular order. Gotcha.
But I would say season 4 Game of Thrones. That had some of the best episodes. Mountain versus Viper. It had the attack on the wall at the end of the season. It had the Tyrion's trial. So it really, really, really great season of Game of Thrones. You.
I'm gonna go my first one. I'm gonna say Chuck, first season of Chuck.
Oh, so good. Okay, that's a good one.
And then
oh man, I should put that one on my list.
That's a good one because I think they really knew what they were doing in nerd culture. Like this being a nerd show, they knew what they were doing because they knew how to play up like popular nerd culture along with nerd culture that maybe only a true nerd might get for that particular item. Because you can watch it.
Absolutely.
If you're not part of that nerd culture, you might not get it, but you might get another joke. It's kind of like watching Forrest Gump. Like the more you know.
Right.
And then they were great at pulling in actors that were doing it.
That was such a good one. I in that same vein, like in the nerd culture vein, it's hard. I couldn't separate it, so I put season 1 and 2 of Community. First 2 seasons of Community.
I forgot about that one.
So I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Is Community is a show for nerds written by nerds. Like that's the show for nerds over Big Bang Theory. Oh, and the first time you watch the paintball episode.
Yeah. Oh, they do that twice. They do it 3 times.
Yeah, they do it. But the first one, like they do a great job doing it every time. But the first time you're seeing that paintball episode on TV, you're just like, this is magical. Like,
why is this not my life?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's unbelievable what they did with that.
I think my favorite nerd part of that show was I love the Halloween episode where the one is the alien, the other one is Ridley in the mech suit.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's so good.
It's so perfect because like that mech suit, perfect. I think they made it out of PVC pipe, and it's something a college kid would make, and it's like, damn it, why didn't I think of that? Because that's perfect.
Yes, that's a good drop right there. Yeah, so season 1 and 2 of Community, because it really there was just nothing like it I had ever seen on TV before. Yeah,
that's one of the best shows out there.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yep. All right, you go.
I'll go season 1 and only of Firefly. I mean, I can watch that show over and over and over on repeat. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, there's only one season.
Yeah,
and it's Joss Whedon, which I like. But it was before it was like, I don't know if you want to call him crazy Joss Whedon now. Like it's not the same as he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that show was great because it's like he took Star Wars and turned it inside out. It was like, you
added a Western flair to it.
It was like you had Han Solo, who was,
it's almost Mandalorian-ish, like when Mandalorian's like Star Wars, but Western Star Wars. It's a Western Star Wars.
Well, that's supposed to be a spaghetti Western. That's what they were basing that
Western
on.
Spaghetti Western, tomato. But I get what you're saying. Go ahead.
Well, it was. Oh, Han Solo was a smuggler turned rebel.
Yeah.
Whereas
Nathan Fillion's character.
Yeah, Nathan Fillion was he was the opposite. He was a rebel turned smuggler.
Yeah.
And it's a great show. I don't know how they only got 1 season. I'm glad they got the movie, but it was a great show.
And I thought about like, okay, we have there's some really great shows that have just one season. And I stayed away from one season shows, like miniseries, because it's kind of cheap, but Firefly has a movie, so I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Good job. So my next one would be season 3 of Lost. And
is that the one where they're holding the button? Which is one of the? Is that season 1 or 2?
I'm season 2 of Lost. So season 1 of Lost was mind blowing, and I loved it. And
sometimes I can watch that show and just watch that season.
Yeah, I love season 1, but when they started getting into there was a big long part, because it was 22 episodes of season 1. They didn't get they got away from the mythological stuff or the crazy island stuff, and season 2 really leaned into that craziness with Hatch Life and the others, and the second group, up for the back of the plane group. So season 2 was it was incredible. And so loved Hatch Life, and
not Penny's Boat.
Penny's Boat was that was the season 3 finale.
Oh, season 3 finale.
That's my favorite finale of any show. But the first half of season 3 was was a little rough, and that's when they had Jack and Kate and Sawyer captured, and that went on for too long. But they announced in the middle of season 3 that they were going to end the show after season 6, and it really started hitting its stride again after that. So there was so many good stuff from season 3, it's hard to not say season 3. And then the season 4 had the Constant and some really crazy stuff.
You're my constant.
That's right. If anything goes wrong, Brett D. King is my constant. So I'll stick with season 2 of Lost.
I'm going to go with my number 3 here is the one that you're going to agree with. I'm going season 1 of Alias. And this is another one where it has nothing to do with the show. It's the story behind the show.
Yeah.
I remember that was a show you and I watched over in Iraq the second time.
Yep.
And do you remember just the amount of anger you had when you went on guard duty in that tower, and we watched one episode without you, and you came back?
Oh man, I was pissed.
It was you didn't talk to us for a day, and
I was pissed. Yeah.
As an adult looking back, you're like, God, that's childish. But at the time,
seriously.
And even now, it's you did what?
I was freaking pissed. So little context to that is, in our second tour to Iraq, we actually had real barracks and electricity and internet and
running
AC
water,
and
toilets.
running water. And we had DVD players, and not handheld DVD players, but actual DVD players with TVs. And when we watched Alias, there was 2 shows that really I remember from Iraq: Alias and the OC.
Oh no, One Tree Hill. That was the first one.
One Tree Hill's there too. Yeah, that was pretty.
That was the first season I think I've ever that was the first show I think I ever watched all the shows, boom, 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 starting with one, going all the way through. I didn't even know that's how shows work till then.
No, yeah, and this was before binging was popular, and we would get a series, a DVD set, and we watched Alias we would have
one more.
I know we got to get up at 6 a.m. for patrol, and I know it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's a combat zone, and there is a chance we might die if we.
And we need to be on alert at all times. But I really got to see what's happening next.
But if we set our alarm for 5 minutes later than normal, then watching this hour show is going to be okay.
Yeah, and Dad saved the day with some Equate sleeping pills.
Oh,
and you came up with the best tagline ever. No dreams, only darkness. So we'd sleep for a few hours in between patrol, and then we'd go back. Get ready right now. Be ready. So Alias it's a
great show. Man, I actually just rewatched that a couple months ago.
My parents just watched it.
It was a little campy at first, but then it was right back. It was. I actually, because remember you and I finished with that car crash scene at the end of the one season.
Yeah, 4
with Vaughn and her.
Yeah. No spoilers.
Well, yeah, and I don't think I ever watched the ending of it, so I finally got to see the ending of it. It was a lot, like, I don't know why it took them 15 years to get me the ending.
It's not like it's the 22 episode of the season kind of show where it's just like it's a marathon. It took my parents almost a year to watch all 5 seasons, so, and they loved it. My mom likes watching women kick ass on screen, so
And Jennifer Gardner,
she does some things.
She's
in that
a class
show.
act.
Yeah, totes. All right, quickly, next one. I'll put season 2 of The Office.
Oh, you can put any season in The Office.
almost any season. Season 4 is really good too, though. The Office. Man, I don't know. I remember watching The Office for the first time, and season 2 is when it hit its stride, and it was just, there was nothing funnier than that. So,
do you think that show could run now? Could you put that show on TV with the amount of jokes they made? Do you think it would be just as popular? Because everything is on that borderline, and at the time it was funny.
Yeah,
but can you have those same jokes now?
It's tough because it's a different time, and a lot of people hate on The Office now. It's like, how can you hate on The Office? I don't know, but I don't know. What's your next one?
Mondays with Heroes and Colin Stemp. We used to always watch Heroes, and I remember I was in college at the time, and
Mondays. Oh, that first season of Heroes.
Oh,
I'm changing my next one.
But I remember I had
that first season of Heroes. There was nothing like it.
I had a political class. It was 1 day a week, so it was a 3-hour-long class on politics. And my God, was it boring! And I remember I'd be like,
man,
as soon as I get out of this class, I'm going to call Stemp, and we're going to.
I just got chills
on the way home. But I mean, that was a great. It got weird at the end, and it wasn't as good. But that first season, "Save the Cheerleader, Save the World," was
there was nothing like that tagline. That was unbelievable, and that's my next pick, because I was gonna pick Smallville, and like Thursday nights in the Army, we'd order Walk and Roll, and we'd have the Walk and Roll delivery girl who was like the hottest girl.
I wonder what she's doing now.
We'd all answer the door like, "Hey, thanks for our Chinese food." Like 7 of us, and then we go all cram into your side of the room, and we watch Smallville. So maybe just for nostalgia feels that's up there. But
well, you can have it on the list. We already have Heroes on the list of 10.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, but yeah, somebody save me.
You got a beautiful voice.
I know, it's like a Fergie and Jesus. Heroes season 1 of Heroes has got to be up there.
Here's my last one.
Smallville's
just for the sake of getting through, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
My last one, I guess, and me and my brother, I'm close to my brother BT here. He kind of mentioned it this morning. He said the Netflix Daredevil. And I was like, oh, season 2. It's got to be season 2 because I love me some Frank Castle. And then, but he's like, no, I feel like it's got to be 1 because at the time it was like my first year in teaching. And if you guys didn't know this, teachers don't make any money. So I mean, we were dirt poor. And so like, it was our Friday night, even though they put every episode up, immediately, we would watch 1 episode every Friday.
I know it drove me insane. You guys did that, but yeah.
But we would get a Little Caesars $5 pizza and watch 1 episode, and it was like our thing. And so it's another one. They'll clean it up in post.
Edit that out, Eric. So that's a great drop. Oh man, season 1 of Daredevil was so good.
Oh, and they did it. That 1 camera pan fight scene they did every year.
Oh, that hallway. They
hallway, did it every season. They did.
Well, but the hallway was season 1, and then the stairwell fight was season 2.
I still don't know which one's better. Like I know.
That stairwell fight against like Hell's Angels type group.
And I think that the guy who did that director, I think he did Birdman. And if you remember Birdman, was it Birdman with
Michael Keaton?
I think, and that was all. Did you ever watch that?
No.
The entire movie is shot as 1 continuous.
Oh.
And I think it was the same director. I think it was.
Look that up.
Look that up.
Yeah, look that up.
I got a guy. He'll look it up.
Is that BT over there?
Yeah, it's BT over there.
What up, BT? I didn't know you were there. BT's also a teacher. So for y'all out there. Okay. Great picks. Great drops. That's good. I might have to go back and really evaluate my list there. The next one comes from a mutual friend of ours, Meg Bradbury.
Peaches
to you, Meg to me. Who, in your opinion, would be the best actor to have played Wolverine? Or, sorry, I took out of context to this. She was talking about Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. So who, in your opinion, would be the best actor to have played him to best personify the Wolverine from the comics?
At the time or now?
Let's go with now, because
okay, good,
with the X-Men now under the Marvel Studios, Disney umbrella, you got a chance to get a real comic accurate Wolverine, at least in terms of size. So who would you put as your Wolverine?
Well, I researched this a lot last night and on what other people were saying and kind of my thoughts. I wasn't sold on any of them really. Okay. Like the big names that people were throwing out there. I think Marvel does a really good job at grabbing those, like Disney Marvel does a really good job of grabbing people coming up like Tom Holland and things like that. BT says I was wrong. It's not the same director as Birdman, but
felt right.
So we're not subtracting a point.
I won't take a point.
That's not a thing.
I won't take a point.
I guess if I had to pick someone right now, I would go with Clint Eastwood's son, Scott Eastwood.
Yeah. See, this is why you and me.
We didn't go over this. Is that your pick too?
That was gonna be my freaking pick. I know. This is why we're one mind. We are one unit mind. So he's got some talent and he hasn't really broken through in. Boom. Yeah, there he is.
That's it.
So he's such a great pick. He would be my number one pick. I think he's got some real talent.
I mean, his name alone brings
his name alone,
and you're not going to pay a ton for him because he's a name that that's recognizable, but you're going to get him and be able to put a huge.
And he hasn't had a big role yet. He was in Suicide Squad. So I think he'd be great. He could really play that gruff.
I think. Wolverine. I mean, if he's any he looks like his dad. I'm sure he can do a lot of things similar, and his dad could play that gruff, grizzled hero, anti-hero.
Yeah. One under the radar pick that I saw that I think is really good, and I'm trying to remember his name. I'm going to look it up real quick, but it's Mel Gibson's son.
Did he get him back? Are you saying that he got his son back?
He got his son back. He paid the ransom.
I didn't know Mel Gibson got his son back.
It wasn't big news, but yeah.
I don't know about it.
Milo Gibson. Look up Milo Gibson here. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Share my screen real quick. You disable participant screen sharing.
I don't know how to enable it. I got a. Do you have a picture in mind? I'm looking at him.
It's just like he's in a suit. It's like some Summit Entertainment, maybe.
Is it
really any picture you pick? Like here's a double picture of him. It's like flipped.
I got it. That one.
Yeah. It's along that series, but yeah, he was in a movie recently. I was trying to, I didn't have time to look him up on IMDb, but he was in a movie and he played a very Wolverine-like character, and he played it amazingly. And he's Mel Gibson's son, so he's
another big name.
He's got the genes in him to be great, and he just needs that one big role. And I think that might be a good opportunity for him. So
there was another one.
Milo Gibson and Scott Eastwood, I think, are two really good choices for who could be the next Wolverine. I don't think we're going to ever have a 5'3" Wolverine in the movies. It might look too weird on screen. It looks better in comics and on the page. So it just would, I don't know if it would translate well to the screen. So I don't know. We'll see.
There was another name that I saw kept popping up, and I didn't even know. Let me pull it up here. Do you need the sound effects? I gotta find a good picture.
That's all right. I think I'm gonna cut our last question and move it to next week, unless you really want to answer it.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
It was Scott King. Scott
Conn. James Conn's son.
And like I saw his name pop up. I'm like, I didn't even know that was his son, and he's in a lot of movies.
Meg Bradbury said Scott Conn as her pick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think, and if you want a short actor, he could be that short actor. I think he's like 40 though, so it depends on what they do with Wolverine and the X-Men. Like what are they going to do? Are they going to have a young class? Obviously, Wolverine's you could always cast an older actor for him, because he's not a teenager like the rest of them are. Here,
I found a picture of him.
Yeah,
found the best picture of him. This is for the ladies.
Hey-oh, look at that. And the dudes.
But I'm with you.
Is that just a shadow in his pants?
Jesus.
Is this like a weird reflection in his pants? So
off the screen now.
Yeah, like that. You like that?
I think you're right. We're on the same mindset. It's like I always look at age.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you want to keep this running for a while, and Wolverine's a cash cow, you've got to keep it running.
Oh yeah.
And so you need someone fairly young. And I went with, that was another reason I went with Scott Eastwood. Is he was born in, I think 85, 80. He's in his
like around our age. He's around our age.
And so that means he's got
time.
A lot of time to build that role. Yeah,
and he would look older than the teenage X-Men, depending on what they do with it. And you want somebody he's not already known for another role.
Right.
Because then you can if you hit it big, then they can only see him in that role for the next 10 years, which is
Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. I mean, that's how it is.
I think maybe Downey is maybe the exception because he had a big career early on, and then the mess happened, and he came back. Iron Man saved his career. He's had a huge career since Iron Man, outside of Iron Man, with Sherlock Holmes and other movies. But you know him as Iron Man. You know him as Stark.
Himself as Iron Man to kids. I mean, kids think he is.
He's not even in. He doesn't get in character. He is Tony Stark. Yeah. So, I think maybe Evans is also a good example of. You can only see him cap right now. Yeah. So that's we'll bank the next question for next week with Erik coming back. I think that'll be a fun one for him to answer. But thank you, Meg. Thank you, Corey. Those are really good questions. Really good. Sparked some good conversation around those and some good nerd conversation. So again, being a nerd, you don't have to be your typical nerd to be a nerd. You could be a nerd about anything. And it's good to know what kind of nerd you are, Mr. King. Is that what the teachers call or the kids call you, Mr. King? You look like a Mr. King. You can do whatever you want with your hands. This is a safe space. So, but thank you, Brett.
Hey, don't mention it.
Thank you for coming on the show, filling in.
It was an honor
for Erik. Wouldn't have anybody else on before you. This is the way it was meant to be. Is you coming on here, my brother from another mother. I'll love you for the rest of my life, no matter what. I don't care what you do. You could burn all those toys, and I'd still love you.
I'm not going to burn all the toys.
No, please don't. So thanks for coming on. We'll have you back on because you made your 4 points.
What was the fourth one? Fourth one is his beautiful face. That's all there is to it.
That's all you need to say. Look at this face.
He might have the voice, but I've got a face. Look at this face.
We're just gonna have video of you, and then Erik dubs his voice over you from now on. So you have the face of a god. Erik has the face of the voice of a god, and I'm just here with my.
You're like the social lubricant. You just make everything flow.
I like that. I don't know about being known as lubricant, but anyway, we'll have you back on as many times as you want to come back on. You are welcome to come back on again. Brett, we love you. I love you. With that being said, tune in next week with Erik coming back. He's on vacation right now and he's having a good time with his family. So we miss you, Erik, and we're looking forward to you coming back. And Brett, you did a great job. What do you think? Are you excited to show this to your students?
I am. I mean, I just got done with my podcast called Period 1 and 2, 3 and 4 with my classes, so I've got some time.
You say podcast?
My podcast. Like I've been running these shows all year.
You know, when I asked you if you had a mic and you said, "Yeah, I've been running a podcast for the last year," I was like, "The hell does he mean? I've been on a podcast? I didn't know about."
Yeah, it's been called My Classroom, virtual teaching for last year.
Mr. King's podcast. Cool. All right.
There's no like button to smash, but just do your damn work.
With us now on video and YouTube. So I've been battling some serious allergies this week. It's been really kicking my ass, but my eyes, my nose, I'm even more nasally than usual. Speaking of the like button, smashing that like button, please like, subscribe, hit the like button. It helps the show out. Now that you can see us on video, we're on video the rest of our lives, so we'll never not be on video.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for that. Brett, I love you.
I love you too.
Kisses.